G'day guys, part 2 with Jody. My God, that's amazing. This amazing individual. That's all I'll say to you, ladies and gentlemen. I mean, it's great to work with people, especially when you get on platforms like TikTok, Instagram, and Facebook, which, they can be sensitive, let's be honest. And, we've got great people on here, as I've met here with Jody, just telling how it is, where his journey has taken him. Very similar to a lot of ours. They're trying to tell us a story about where and what we do and what we have done, and people trying to find out from real people, not to put down anyone who's been studying and all that stuff, because everyone goes, oh, you're doing all this shit, you're not a doctor. I go, no, I'm not a doctor, but I've been through it. I can give you an opinion, and I can move you on to where I need to move on. That's the way it is. And that's what Jody's been doing. Do you want to tell us a little bit about your mental health, your little mental health side business that you got there, mate? You talk about men's mental health. I'm a big advocate for that because of Western society, the way it is, okay, putting a lot of pressure on men. Dating, that's another story, all right? There's another story with the ego and the bloody power and the money and the way it has been divide and conquer. And it's not everyone's fault, it's just the way it is. And you can see, and then, but what do you, tell us a little bit about your mental health little side run that you do to help people?
Look, I started when I rebuilt myself. I knew that I needed a platform to do it with, for stability, to rebuild my life. So I ran the spiritual, the physical, the intellectual, the financial, and the emotional, the five pillars of wellness for me. That's what I focus on every day. And so you'll see most of my videos if you're coming over. Depending on what country you're from, you won't probably gel necessarily straight away with me because of my sarcasm and my slang. So I'm
welcome. Welcome.
You'll see me. 1 minute I'll be taking the piss out of Xi Jinping. It's not a racist thing. It's just an Australian, jokester sort of background. If I was on a comedy show, you'd be paying $50 a ticket for it. But because it's supposed to be sort of a truth podcast, you expect nothing but facts. But I like to sort of mix it up with a little bit of common sense, very plain sight. But anyway, so that's what most of my videos are around. One day you'll be hearing me talking about spiritual reconnection of our, energetic body, understanding our energetic body connection to the emotional body, connection to the physical body, and how we can clear that energy to make sure that we have, good transmuting of the, sun solar energy that's going on at the moment. Other days you'll see intellectual. It'll just be all about, just understanding the history of things that, and I'm talking 4 years. Like, this is me been doing this for 4 years. I got no reason to be talking any further than that. And if you catch me out on something that is a bit of a disinformation, because it'll never be misinformation, I won't be ever deliberately trying to deceive anybody with it. If you catch me out on this, call me out, fix me up, lead me to the link. Don't tell me I'm wrong. Don't give me your opinion. Just guide me where you get your information from, because I'm a reader and I'm a listener. And I like to learn. All right, I'm just trying to give I call it the mother bird type scenario. I get up very early every morning and I grab the big fat worm and I chew it up and I try and just digest it and spit it out to the little baby birds in a palatable sort of size, because not everybody's got the time and the resources that I do. So, I try and help out those that are stuck deep in the cycle with double family incomes. But, financially, I think I understand money, even though I have none anymore. I've had my greatest my last thing was a 54 lot residential subdivision was beside a 18-hole private golf course, and that was going to be my piece de resistance. It was going to be me all over, and the ex, she didn't agree with that, so that never happened. She took that, and then the emotional obviously is something completely different to the spiritual side of it. Realistically, it's about really being able to unlock the trauma. So I always consider, I talk about it all the time, saying the head, the heart, and the stomach, they're the three things in your body, whether you believe in the chakra of the seven or just energy flowing in and out. Either way, it's called a connection, it's called source, some sort of energy, some sort of connection. And what happens is when we have trauma, when we have trauma in our heart space, a lot of men particularly, they disconnect. I like to say that we disconnect we're disconnected because we can't live in a life where we're just emotionally feeling that all the time. We've got to be strong. We've got to be powerful. So what's a tree do in a situation where it's under threat from a drought? It pushes all of its nutrients and all of its good down to its roots and its core, and it doesn't give a shit about its branches and its leaves. It doesn't care about anything else other than surviving, right? So that's what humans naturally do, and that's what men do particularly. And so when you see us push all of our energetic blockages down in our stomach, you'll see, if you do not understand energy, the emotional body and how it will manifest as dis-ease into the physical body.
Wayne Dyer said that one. I've got that. Wayne Dyer, obviously, yeah.
No, I've never heard of it.
Go and watch him. A lot of the stuff. Yeah, great stuff. Yeah. Keep going. Sorry to interrupt.
Yeah, no, you're right. And so that's why you see so much stomach cancer, bowel cancer, colon cancer, testicle cancer for men, because that's where all of our shit and blockages are. But it's also why you see so much testosterone-based, anxious ego, sort of thing, because it's all about, rooting and drinking and fighting and, carrying on. Give me the chick. And anytime that you feel that, even remotely trying to reconnect that heart space from the trauma that probably was usually a child-related thing, a bullying thing, a parental thing, or, rejection type thing, or a misplacement of trust. That when as soon as you put yourself into that energetic space where your heart might start feeling that again, it's like jam it back down there and say, no, I'm going to go and punch them in the face, drink some more beers, and give me a Sheila, give me a woman. So what I've been trying to do is making sure that people feel comfortable during that journey to allow that allow the vulnerability to really do it. And I was trying to get rid of my ego for the longest of times, because the ego had taken over control of me. Because I was so traumatized, I needed to shield myself from that pain. So I built this big shield of ego, and basically everything was, I would attack first everywhere I went. I'm the first person to crack a joke. It's a common thing, mate.
Exactly what I was doing. Exactly.
Yeah, attack's the best form of defense.
Exactly.
And I'd never get caught on the back foot. So I was trying to get rid of my ego, and what I realized was my ego was the only thing that actually stood up and kept me alive during those years. And what I needed to do was actually thank my ego. So I went and had a chat to the other emotions in your body that would be responsible to the response that comes out of your mouth. And I had a chat to them basically and said, hey, stop bagging out the ego, mate. This guy got us here, and this guy made us get through the toughest of times.
Can I say with the ego? Sorry, Jody, just to kind of cut you off there.
Go for it.
With the ego, I like to say I lived in my heart space and then used my ego to guide me instead of living in my ego and ignoring the heart space, if that makes any sense.
Absolutely. And that's what he was doing. He was protecting me, he was distracting me, he was pushing away anybody that would try and cause more harm to that heart space, from whatever it was. So I work on that mostly. My app is only just sort of getting up and running again. It's basically it's a short sport, 120 short versions of sports to get outside with your friends, your family. You can do it nationally, internationally. You can do it from, me and you can set up our own little competition in it. You can challenge people. But basically it doesn't care whether you're tall, short, fat, skinny, black, white, Asian, bloody, whatever. It doesn't have a way to discriminate. It's basically about getting people to go outside and realize that we've got to keep all of those things in balance. It's called average AF for a reason. If you focus an equal amount of time on each of those 5 principles I said, you'll never be able to be perfectly good at them. You'll never be exceptional at them, because the moment you find yourself being exceptional at 1 or 2 of those things, you are probably creating a time imbalance on the rest of them, and sooner or later you will topple over. And that's what I've seen so many people, Tiger Woods, great example, greatest golfer in the world, still an alcoholic that cheated on his wife, that now, busted his back from too much of the one sort of sport. Lots of money, but doesn't mean that everybody that would think that they want to live his life necessarily would be. What do you
think of journaling, Jody? Because I'm a big journaler, I'm a big writer. I write poetry. I've written a book. This is why it's Journey of a Whitefeather. It's like basically the journey of a Whitefeather for me is basically my journey through life, the lessons, the situations that have made me who I am and what I am talking to you today, being in the present situation and understanding all that. And it opened up a lot of things. I do a lot of writing. I've written 2 books now. I've got 2 books ready to go. I've got one going into print now. But I've written another one. What do you think about journaling, and what do you think about writing some stuff down, to the concept of writing I am grateful for, or I am perfect as I am, just writing down those positive affirmations. What do you encourage that in your thing at all? Or?
I don't. There's no one thing fits all. I think what I try and set up is a smorgasbord. I try and have a broad knowledge, again, with the average knowing a little bit of everything. I try and get a smorgasbord for anybody that would be out there. And I tell my story, and I've seen it's so common, the way the trauma sets up and the way it plays out, and people, it's just cut and rinse and repeat.
Yeah.
So yeah, the smorgasbord option for me is what I do. Like my website, the Working on Wellness Factor is those. It's five pages of those 5 channels. It's not live yet, but I'll give you the link. But it's designed to have connect small business in each one of those fields, so that you can go in there and learn each one of those sorts of things.
Okay.
And you can go into spiritual, and you might like Reiki. I don't, but you might you might be the emotional code. You might be the sound frequency. It might be access bars. It might be something along those lines. One might work well, one might not. But everybody would say to you, "Oh, you got to do Reiki," and you go, "Well, no, I don't."
No,
and then you go over here, and like you said. So for me, this is my videos are my journaling. I've got 500 videos online. I can talk for days. But you try and put me in front of a script to read, and I'm hopeless. You try and get me to continue to write down my thoughts. I can't write as quick as I can think, and I actually cause a traffic jam in my head, going, ha.
Gotcha.
Get out of the fucking road. I'm trying to write.
Gotcha.
Gotcha. Yeah.
Gotcha. It's very interesting you say that.
So I like channeling.
I say, like, I've been doing my journey with Whitefeather stuff, like talking about what I do is I go to a different. I mean, if you watch my ones, I've got my home is Perth, and I go there and I walk around. You get inspired by it, for me. So my journey is to say, okay, I've learned about this, and when being in this situation or being in this place inspires me to what you're saying. So you're actually giving a lesson on your life in a particular area. Like I've done it in Launceston. Because I'm in a band, I've been going to Launceston, going to Adelaide, whatever. And I do my videos in these different places, which is interesting. And it's just basically, as I said, the journey. It's simple as journey of a Whitefeather. So what is it? It's my journey from here to here, with all the ups and downs, and becoming the person that I am right now through the hard times.
Well, this is the problem that we're seeing, especially in the truth movement, when you try and actually get to go forward, because the egos are there and because the trauma is there. Most people can't even, they can't even unite long enough to fight the common enemy, because they're too busy fighting each other. No, it's Jesus that's saving us. No, it's the white hats that's saving us. No, you got to vote Liberal. No, you got to just be love and light and just meditate all day long. Like, oh, shut up and just stand together side by side and know that the enemy is common, because they're sitting back just laughing, going, look at these plebs. They're never going to take
it. If everyone understood there, sorry to cut you off again, but if everyone understood that, whether it's they're this bloody toxic masculinity, femininity, all this fucking crap. If we understand that the human being is a human being, and you look at it as like a chessboard, king and queen, the way it is, you do what you got to do, you keep your ego in check. That's the way we're brought into a world of, men are the way they are.
Yeah.
Women are the way they are. They have masculine and feminine energy within them, and instead of, as you said, look, these idiots are going, oh, look at these fucking idiots. They're bloody fighting amongst each other. But you understand that people have their own journey, and understand they've got their own lessons to learn. We will be in a better place.
Sure, and that's why I say that of all the things in the first part of this that's going wrong, none of it will be fixed if we don't start with ourselves. Because I can clap my hands tomorrow and have all of the problems go away, and in 5 years they'd be back, because the fundamental reason that it's possible to break society down the way they have is because we are traumatized and triggerable, which means that our default is always, if you get butt hurt, you either are in a fight or flight mode. So 80% of the people run away from confrontation. They don't argue. They don't push back. They're just like, I just can't handle it. I'll just do whatever you tell me to do. I'll follow the rules. Yes, officer. Yes, nurse who wants to jab me. Yes, whatever it is, I'm going to say yes. The other 20% are like me, high function, the other side of anxiety, which is the fight, right? So if you keep everybody in a slight manner of fear all their life, they're going to be running or fighting. And there's not much in between when you realize just how many people are running on low energy. The moment you get low energy, your adrenal glands will kick in because it knows that you just need to, you'll feel the stress, and it interprets it as fucking tiger in the room. So you're either trying to run away from everything or you're trying to attack it, ferociously. And when you got all of the blood from your system goes to your frontal cortex of your brain during any type of anxious response, the opportunity, like I do culture training for my work in my workplace. I'm always trying to change culture. And I did this big seminar one time where there was all these big high wigs and I was just a nobody, and they were terrified that I was going to speak my mind as I do. And I put my hand up. She said, "What's the definition of culture?" And I put my hand up and I said, "Don't answer this out loud to the people." And I said, "What do you call a Muslim on the moon?" This was 12 years ago. And they went, "Oh, fucking," they're all looking around, they're going like this. And I said, "An astronaut." I said, "Culture is the first thought that comes to your head. It's your first response. It's what's been drummed into you that's nothing to do with your core beliefs that's in the back of your head." So culture is what happens immediately when you have a thought, a situation, whether you run towards the fire or you run away from it, whether you go towards the woman screaming rape or you just walk on by. But the back of your head, given 5 minutes to think about that question, would not come up with a racist suggestion. And at the time, Muslims were spoken pretty badly about across all news, because it wasn't long after, the events of Christchurch, I think it was, in New Zealand.
Yep.
No, like now every person in that room barely would have even known a Muslim, but they would have had a thought come to their head that doesn't necessarily sit with their core beliefs. And that's why if you can keep people in that anxious state where they're overthinking here, they haven't got their heart for empathy here, and their gut is not even connected to that through that situation, where they don't get time for that gut feeling, we respond quickly all the time because this has got all the blood, this has got the power. And so we're saying things and we're doing things and we're acting the way that isn't in line with the core beliefs or family of our ethics or our morals or our Western principles, you know what I mean? So that's the thing we've got to fix before we worry about what fucking politician is, running in the federal election.
We're not doing that at the moment, though. I think we are. Look, Danny Searle, God rest him, he's passed. He lived in Brisbane. He was one of us, and he said it's an exciting time to be where we are right now, because there's a lot of people waking up. You, me, everyone's waking up to all these things. I think we're finding our own part. It's great we're connecting, Jody. Like, you've got your journey, I've got mine. I've got my team overseas. Yep. Right, that we'll see this video and go, God, this guy's unreal. Let's connect with him. We'll go. Well, I want to get you onto the UK. I'm going to get you on the UK radio. That's my first thing. I've got a friend of mine, my brother from another mother, Cortez Medford. He does Spiritual Needs TV on I can't remember the Radio FM in England. And he has basically the same thing, but he has it generated towards the UK, and get all of us getting together. It's like a divine plan in my sense. It's great that we can. We
are the nodes in the new network, my friend. This connection is what they have suppressed. Everything that they get us to build through free will in this world is what we are capable of as souls in outside of it. Understand that this is a mirror of what we can do ourselves, and we are hidden from the truth on a constant basis. And the reason why we yearn so much for progress and growth is because it's something that we can do in our spiritual bodies. And so we are tricked into making our time and effort as slaves on this planet to build what we can do for free outside of it. And that is the secret that we've got to sort of... Could I ask
you then, okay, this might be going on the other side. If we do this for free, we had the monetary system to value our work efforts. How would you do that? How would you set it up?
Well, that's a 3D thought, and that's the problem. Is that we've been disconnected from what our true intentions as divine creations were. We've been stuck in the training of the 3D thought for so long that when we think about freedom, we only think about freedom in the 3D. You know what I mean? Like, and that's what I'm sort of saying, is that it seems it seems cuckoo for chua, but the moment you start going inwards and, like you've only got to go, I've never done DMT or ayahuasca or something like that, but there's plenty of drugs, particularly DMT, which is something that we make in our bodies ourselves right before death. Which is clearly opening, preparing us and opening us or calming us for what is to come. I work on every single level, you know what I mean? Like I've got my spiritual beliefs, I've got my spiritual networks. We have a men's group that had found higher ways to express themselves and understand the what we're trying to do with the Neo beyond the Matrix. So many people say that they have been, they're red pilled. And I'm like, oh, Neo wasn't still walking around in the Matrix when he was red pilled. He actually woke up and, he didn't bother shaking any of the pods around him. He actually got on with breaking the system, and we need to understand that we need to break the system, not walk around shaking pods all day long either, because when you shine a light bright enough, out of what it is that you're doing, the people that are in the dark will naturally gravitate to you anyway. You don't have to do anything particular. You don't have to shine the light in their eyes to do it. You just have to be a light, because I was in the dark and I had no light to follow until I started waking up, started looking around and going, holy shit. And it's a terrifying place to be. But the more people like me and you that can be the light, the more that they can look around and say, which one is closest, or which one is the kind of light that I want to be attracted to, because we're not all the same.
We've all got the same purpose there, Jody, because as I said, it comes down to us being humans. For sure. And appreciating as a human. You've got your journey. But we're still going up in a way.
Right.
We're not the same. No, of course not. And,
no, we're lifting the vibration.
We are lifting the vibration, our own superpower.
Yeah,
that's the way it is, because we're brought on this earth to be who we are, live our life and live our dream, live our purpose, whatever it may be, and then, but also if it means to raise the vibration. So you raise your own vibration to become a leader and show them what you can do, and once you raise that vibration, you can do what you need to do, I guess, isn't it?
Well, the path becomes sort of clear, and the more work I've done on my trauma, the more self-healing I've done, the more I've filled this and reconnected my art space, the less that any of the material shit in this planet makes a difference to me. It is a weird place to be. I'm 10 months without alcohol, and there was never even a moment of time where I've gone, oh boy, geez, I miss that. I've given up so many bad habits, and nothing. My heart yearns for none of it. I've sold my toys, sold my extra houses, got rid of the capitalism. I've gone from 60 hours a week back to 40 if you're lucky. I spend all my spare time with my daughter, not by like looking at the clock going, oh, what time am I out of here to go fishing with the boys? It is by choice. In my spare time I do the truth work. In my spare time I do my mental health chats and talks, and work on releasing or re-releasing my app and website. Today
you're doing amazing, man. I mean, as I say, I've got a shadow course. I do a shadow warrior course, so I've done the same thing. It's my journey of how I got out, and that's exactly what you've done. You've gone and done what you've got out. I think we all have a voice, and the people who need to hear it will hear it.
Absolutely, and
that's the way it is,
Yeah, and I had a young fellow say to me one day, he was watching me do one of my normal talks every morning. Before I was we let him go for work. I'd always do a chat and say, hey, listen, Bill's at home at the moment and he's broken his leg. Don't forget to give him a ring. He's been home for 3 weeks. Nothing sucks more than missing your workmates and thinking that they don't think about you. Go over and give them a phone call. And a lot of them don't understand what you're talking about. This one young bloke rang me one day after that, and he goes, oh, bro, I was always listening to you, bro, and it's pretty good, it's a pretty good chat, but I never really know what you're talking about, because he's only 23, and he goes, but today it was like, bro, you were just talking straight to my soul, bro. And I said, why is that? And he said, well, I lost my cousin last month, bro, and I'm not doing real well with it. And he's was like a brother to me, and he goes, I needed that message from you today, bro. And I said, that's the point, bro. If you don't stop speaking, if you make sure that door is open, and you just keep talking about it, there's always going to be someone that needs to hear it. You know what I mean?
Absolutely. Mate, absolutely. I'm just writing all this stuff down. It's fantastic. Look, it's a case of, I had the experience today. Obviously, I did a bit of costuming Myself, I'm Melbourne Robin at the moment. I do Batman and Robin here. I've got a friend of mine who does Batman.
Sexpo, you said, yeah?
Yeah, was that sorry? Sexpo? Sexpo. Well, we won't go there, will we?
Yeah. Sometimes you get to be Batman, sometimes you get to be Robin.
That's exactly it. No, we do. We do the Comic Cons and stuff like that. It's great to see. We do a lot of charity work with the Good Friday, but to see the faces, you know what the thing is too? It's the parents. They come up and say, "Thank you so much for making a difference in my kid's life," and that's the experience that you're having. Like that guy that just messaged you, and this is what we're all about, ladies and gentlemen. You've got great people like Jody here who are doing those little things. And this is the thing. This is why I do what I do as an interview, as a platform to get to know you. Can you give you? I'm no, Alan Jones or whatever you want to call it. I haven't got a massive following or anything, but I know enough people around that I can spread, and we've all got our own connections. Yeah. And it's good to know what's going on. We can all be happy to help others. Another thing, that's a great thing.
And it's the smorgasbord. You know what I mean? I do not. If there is one person that hears this video that reaches out to me and likes to taste, the cut of me jib, and says, I need help, or I'd like to help, or something along those lines, and 99 don't, well, I will make sure that I share this video out to another 100 people, and we'll find one more person that needs help, and out of that, and they'll share it on. And that's what I said. This young fella said, how can he help? And I said, pay it forward, brother. That's it. I said, make sure that everywhere, the day that I'm not here for, to be able to have this conversation, make sure you are. Make sure that you always let people know that, that people are there to listen to it. And look, I'm a risk manager. I do risk management here on the mine site. It's a pretty dangerous, it's pretty dangerous in the underground world, right? And so I do preventative maintenance, preventative strategies, and mitigating strategies. So if you've got a car crash, a car incident on site, that's what we call a critical risk. And so we have speed limits, and we have signage, and we have training, and we have, all of these lights. We have lights and flags. That's to prevent having an incident. And then we have the mitigating strategy. So we have first aid, we have rollover protection, we have all of these ambulance things, right? So that is, so if it still happens, we can minimize the amount of damage we do. Well, this is what I do in the fight against the governments and stuff like that too, is that I've trained people to, to think about what the risk is for their family should something shit hit the fan. And so we do everything we can to piss off the WEF, piss off the World Health Organization, piss off the UN, piss off the piss poor government that's not doing its job, get back our taxes, make the most of our money so that we don't ever get to the situation where we're completely on our knees. You will own nothing and be happy. And then we teach
bloody hell. Yeah, I heard that one.
We teach them mitigating strategies out the back here, saying, well, if shit does go south, what do we do? And how do we do it? And the mitigating strategies come out the back of it. It's like, if I turned your internet off tomorrow, how long would you last? I'm saying, I always say to people, I'm like, where's your knowledge? It's all in here, right? You're in trouble. Where's your money? It's all in here. You're in trouble. Where is your power? Where's your power driven from these days? It's from the net, turns on the transformer that turns on your house. It's, everything's in the internet. So how long would you last? So these are the things that we do. It's not even about world wars, tyranny or anything like that. It's just basic education of a mitigating strategy. You say you want to be a good family man, be the man and understand, prevent it, and then have a strategy for if shit went south.
We're still doing that, yeah. I think people don't take that as seriously as it is, mate. We're just about to wind up on this chat, man. We could probably talk forever, but would you be happy to come back on and do another chat at some stage? Mate, as I said to everyone out there, when I do approach a fair few people, I watch a lot of videos, and they go, "Oh, what do you watch videos for?" Because I want to educate myself on the real person. There you go.
Yep.
And I think it gives us an opportunity. If you know what, like we watch a funny video and stuff, but to hear the issues, I mean, I wouldn't have reached out to Jody if I hadn't actually watched these videos and said, right, this guy needs to be heard. And I do that for a lot of people, and this is what it is.
And that's good. It was lucky too, because like I only frig around on I just stir them up and plant seeds on TikTok because I get my account shut down that often. So
right.
I've given, like that TikTok for me is just a bit of fun because my lives are, for anybody out there watching, it's an hour and a half. Most of my lives are an hour and a half long, and I'll talk about exactly like what this is. It'll drift in and out of all these conversations. It'll never be disjointed. It'll teach you how they all sort of weave into each other and how they are, ton of straw. But TikTok I just do for fun because it's just a bit of fun over there when you sort of go over there and act stupid because they love it when you act stupid. Like this morning was I said, last night I got this awesome hack. I don't know if you know about it, but I was scrolling through TikTok and then I've come across this post that I didn't like and I just scrolled past it. And I always thought you had to stop and write something stupid on there, but apparently you can just scroll straight past it and you don't even have to write anything on there. And then I found out that if you do stop and write something stupid on there all the time, the algorithm thinks you like them. And so they continue to put the same stupid posts in front of you. So how about you learn that hack and just scroll on by, and that's it. But, that's just a piss take at the people that just sit there going, you're a cooker, you're a conspiracy theorist, and carry on. And I'm like, I love the word cooker. I absolutely love it. One of my rings on my Facebook profile says, cooking for Australia so that we are never starved of the truth. Bring it on. You have no idea how thick my skin is for people that want to try and take me on.
You can't half not bloody, look, it's awesome. It's awesome meeting you, and it just, as we can go into a lot about digital bills and the bullshit of the government go into. We can say about the electric cars, the bloody petrol prices, which is Wednesday's the lowest one. What a load of screw job that is, mate. I mean, there's so much bloody hell. There's a lot to unpack out there, mate. And I think the appetite at the moment is obviously the digital bill because it's in the news. I don't get caught up with what they call the mainstream media. We all know that it's fraudulent. Nobody watches it anymore. We've got a real big issue at the moment with the mainstream social media. All right, so they've understood that all the power's been taken away from them, and now you see the rise of the Tuckers and the Elons and the Tates and the Rogans. Now, I love watching all of their content, but I ask everybody to understand when you're running around because something said to, just understand that we used to do that with the same way when we were watching the mainstream media and trusted it. So that makes a good point of sense, mate. Yeah, it's a great point.
It's learning discernment, all information in through the filter of discernment, letting your body take all these three pieces, take that in and go, what do I need out of that? Shit the rest out, hold on to what's core. Your intuition will tell you what is right and what fits in the jigsaw. Yep. And the mouthpiece is intent. That every time you open your mouth, you understand what the intent of the information that you've just learned through discernment and intuition before it comes out of your mouth, because that will make the biggest difference in this war. If you're just saying someone died from the jab to tell somebody so that you can spite them to say that you were right, that is wrong. If you're telling them that they're at risk, but there's a protocol that we've got in place to do something about it because of the spike protein floating around in your body with the nanoparticles, understand that is the intent of your post. So that, to me, is the biggest thing that I just wanted to add in the end. If your viewership liked what they heard with us tonight, let them sort of tell us what part 2 looks like. If they want to talk about digital ID, that's what we can. But if they want to come back and talk about,
that's a good way of looking at it, mate. It's a really good way of looking at it. Because Jackie and I, my friend of mine in Canada, we do the 1111 Spiritual Transit podcast. We both have the same sort of journeys. And we
1111. God, don't get me started on 1111.
Yeah, well, that's how, mate. And that was the thing that came to me straight up. I just I go, Jackie, 1111 Spiritual Transit makes bloody sense what we're doing.
Yeah,
makes exactly what we said. And we basically have questions from viewers asking us about twin flame relationships and all this stuff. But now it gets into that. We're going into that type of thing, you know what I mean? So,
and that's why I say let them guide what they want to hear. Because I love part 2s because this is always just the introduction one, and I speak that fast and I speak that much. It's always hard to they're just sort of like thinking, oh shit, he's talking about world economic. Oh shit, he's turned the corner now. He's talking about underground mining. Oh, far out, he's back over to mental health again. So I just like to let people, if there's a part 2, if they actually want a part 2, mate, I just let them decide what they want. And
we will have that. We always have the open forum. But Jody, thank you so much. As I said to you, like coming out and actually accepting, I reach out to a lot of people and you getting back, and thank you for your time and what you're doing for this world, man. For me and my crew that I know I'm speaking behind, thank you for what you're doing. And
No worries, mate. Thank you for giving me a voice, mate. Because I can sit here and talk on my own with no one here in the room with me, or I can talk to you, who's doing everything you can to get my voice out as far as wide as it will be. So
we're doing our best, mate. This will be on Spotify, YouTube, depending if it gets. I reckon it will get ripped on YouTube. I can guarantee you. But Spotify is great. We are going on Reddit and Rumble. We're going to try those ones. I know Russell Brand's on. He's pushing for Reddit and Rumble for all of us. Yeah. I know what you think of Russell Brand. I
watch them all. Yeah, I watch them all. I know. I don't care for. I don't care for any of them, because my role in all of this is to discern my information and give it out with my intent. It doesn't matter where it comes from, as long as I've got my filters set right. It won't matter what source it's from. There's
a message, ladies and gentlemen. Have an open mind to everything you hear, and it's up to you what you need to hear and how you're going to give it out. Jody, thanks so much for being on the show, and we'll be back for part 2. And as we do, I don't know if you know pro wrestling, I'm a massive pro wrestling fan. WrestleMania is on tomorrow, and we always finish. Jackie and I are big, massive fans of Bret the Hitman Hart, and we always finish with his quote: "Get up in the morning and be the best there is, best there was, best there ever will be." Just like this man over here. Thank you so much for what you're doing. This has been a chat with Jay for the 1111 Spiritual Transit podcast. Thanks so much, and of course, Words of the Warrior on TikTok, Journey of a Whitefeather. Thanks so much. Watch WrestleMania and enjoy tomorrow. Or listen to this bloke right here, because he'll tell you a few things of what you need to know. Thanks so much, ladies and gentlemen. We'll talk to you soon, Joe. We'll see you very soon. Thanks very much.
Thanks, everyone.
Bye-bye.